Hello RUOCCHIO, I'm Jonathan and welcome to Words in Time. Now in today's video we're going to be talking about Demon in White, the third book in the Sun Eater series, my favourite current sci-fi series. So without giving too much away from books 1 and 2, what is the premise for Demon in White? Well, after the events of Howling Dark, Hadrian captured the attention of the Emperor himself and now serves him in the war against the Cielcen. Now, Hadrian also managed to develop a bit of a cult following amongst his infantry, and some within the empire view this as making Hadrian a bit of a political threat. And on top of that, of course, there is the ongoing mystery of the Quiet. So getting into the plot without giving away any spoilers, something that I really enjoyed in this book was how it combined some of my favorite aspects of Empire of Silence and Howling Dark. I liked the way in which we moved from location to location, and I felt like we were always learning more about the Sun Eater world. I also enjoyed the variety of obstacles that Hadrian constantly has to overcome, and how the stakes were constantly raised with each problem that Hadrian is forced to solve. He has an ever-growing list of things on his to-do list, does Hadrian. Now, I thought this book did a really good job of balancing this kind of triangular balancing act of action, intellectual moments, and emotional moments. Now, in terms of the action, I think Demon in White has some of the best fight scenes, battle scenes, combat scenes in the entire series. And normally when I'm reading a book, even if I'm quite enjoying it, I'm quite excited. I don't know if I'm outwardly showing it. You know, I could be reading a book and I'm very excited right now, but I don't think I'm showing it. But this book actually got me to physically react to things that were going on in the story. I was reading this book on a plane, and I'm sure some people thought I was a crazy person, because I was reading the book and making faces and sounds like, ooh, like, that was a weird one, ooh. But I'm telling you guys, there was a combat scene in this book that actually made me cheer. I got to it and I was just like, yeah, this is emotional, visceral reactions. Absolutely loved it. The way we built to those moments, the energy, I was hyped. And something else that I liked about the action was it feels unique to this series. Just to give a small example, fighting with a high matter sword requires techniques that are specific to that very weapon. So I love how we feel like we're in a very distinct world with action that is unique to Sun Eater. So in terms of sci-fi concepts, I thought that Howling Dark was a step up from Empire of Silence, and Demon in White takes it to a whole new level. I liked how the concepts in this book seem to be rooted in science, so the readers could have a basic understanding of what was going on. We were somewhat anchored by that, so it wasn't as if, anything could happen at any time for any reason. There was a framework in which those concepts were operating, but the backstory, the origin, the full potential of those were not fully revealed. So as we're reading this, we still have that sense of wonder, mystery, and anticipation. So I really liked how those were balanced and done in Demon in White. Moving on to some emotional moments and character moments, I really enjoyed seeing how Hadrian has progressed from book 1 until now. He's still a melodramatic Hadrian, but I think in some ways he's a little wiser and a little bit more mature. There are moments where he bit his tongue, where earlier on in the story I could definitely see that not having been the case. However, there are still those certain little things that can definitely set him off. Now, when you're younger, generally, people can tend to be a bit more ambitious, a bit more confident, and it's interesting seeing how Hadrian start to question things, question what he knows, and even question his own motivations. I think some of the depths to which that was explored was really, really impressive. Now, when it comes to some other characters and relationships, I was really emotionally invested in the relationship between Hadrian and Valka. I thought that developed in an organic way which got me to connect to it, and I think it also sidestepped some potential tropes when it came to that relationship, which was really rewarding to see as well. And there were several other character moments that really landed for me emotionally in this book as well. I don't want to give anything away, but just some of the other characters such as Polino, Basander, Saran, Lorien, and others, they just develop more and more depth in each book. And even though Hadrian is still our main character, I feel like I'm becoming more and more connected to the Sun Eater world through those characters. However, there is one character situation which definitely has the potential to make me cry, so we'll just have to wait and see on that one. I'm crossing my fingers and holding my breath, but definitely care about the characters a lot in this book and for the series going forward. And just lastly, in terms of characters, we get introduced to a Cielcen character, Siriani Doriaca. Now, we've met Cielcen characters previously that I thought were very interesting, but the unique thing about Doriaca is that previous Cielcen clans have been somewhat fractured and their attacks have been sporadic, whereas Doriaca has been able to unite some clans and attacks very strategically. So this puts a very formidable name and face to the Cielcen and their impending danger. So I think that paid off a lot in this book, and I'm excited to see what happens with the Cielcen in Kingdoms of Death and beyond. So I just wanted to make a couple of points about the writing. In terms of pacing, I thought this book was paced really well. As you can see, it's a bit of a thick one. It's 867 pages in the paperback, but I never felt like it slowed down too much. I never felt bored. I was enjoying this book the whole time. There were just a few moments where I thought, I'm still enjoying this, but I'm maybe not sure what this is ramping up to or what to expect next. But at the same time, in a book that is this long, it can't be go, go, go all the time. It does need some moments to breathe and then build up again, which I thought this book did excellently well. Now, in terms of the prose, you've heard me give a lot of praise to RUOCCHIO's writing before. If you did see my video of how I combined 5 authors in order to create my perfect sci-fi writer, I did pick Christopher RUOCCHIO to provide the prose. And some reasons for that are, I feel like he can write incredibly poetic descriptions, but he can also write very philosophically, and he can also write with a real punch and urgency when he needs to as well. I feel like the writing really fits the moment, and whatever emotion or theme we're tackling at the time, I think it's just described perfectly, and a reason why I reread passages over and over again, just because I love the way they sound. So what did I think of the ending? Well, my expectations for this book were pretty high because I absolutely loved the first 2 books, and the general consensus is that Demon in White is the strongest release in this series so far. And while reading it, I was absolutely loving it, but I felt like it was a pretty similar level to the first 2 books. And then the last 200 pages just absolutely blew me away. The way that Christopher RUOCCHIO introduced new concepts, but also had me on the edge of my seat trying to guess in which direction they were going to go was just a real thrill ride to read. And I love how each book has peaked towards the end, because if you read a book that is, this long and the endings are, unsatisfying, you'll still have got your money's worth. You'll have enjoyed 600-700 pages. But the fact that he still had more to give, more ideas to reveal, and just to ramp up and peak at the ending, it's just so satisfying and makes me so excited to read the next book in the series. So what is my rating for Demon in White? Well, I'm going to have to give it a 9.5 out of 10. I was absolutely floored by this book, and it is my favorite in the series so far. Definitely keep an eye out for it in my top sci-fi reads of the year list video coming out very soon. I have no major criticisms of it. It is pretty close to a 10. I'm just going to give the series a little bit of room to grow. I'm just being a little bit cheeky with that one, but absolutely met, perhaps even exceeded expectations. So whether you've read the first one, the first 2, or haven't picked it up at all yet, I cannot highly recommend enough the Sun Eater series. And I'm going to leave a link in the description below, but something that's really cool is Christopher RUOCCHIO is constantly posting on his YouTube channel and sending out email updates and things in terms of where he's at with the writing process and what's going on with the Sun Eater series. So if you want to stay up to date, definitely follow him and check out those reveals, because, yeah, at the moment I cannot get enough of this series. So There you go, guys. I'm super high on it. I hope you are too. Let me know your thoughts if you've read the books or if you haven't. Are you going to check them out? I'm trying pretty hard. Let me know if I'm doing a good job. And if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe because as always, there's more sci-fi content coming soon.